Hello everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. This evening I'm going to be making banana pudding. It's a favorite southern dessert around here and I hope that you give it a try. And thanks for dropping by and watching my video. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, I'd love for you to do that. So just to hit that subscribe button and maybe click that bell so that you can be reminded that when I drop a video on YouTube. So let's get started by making this banana pudding, and we're going to go ahead and separate our eggs first. So we're going to separate the egg yolk from the whites, and you're going to need 3 egg yolks for your pudding. I'm going to go ahead and put the yolks in the bigger bowl and the whites in the small bowl, and we can have those with breakfast in the morning. Don't want to throw those away. You could make a meringue, but I'm not a big fan of meringue. So we're just going to put a lid on those whites and set them aside, put them in the refrigerator. I'm going to take a fork and break these yolks apart and have it ready for my hot pudding mixture I'm going to mix this with in just a few minutes. So those are ready, so we're just going to set that aside. And then we're going to go over to the stove and begin mixing our other ingredients. Okay, in a heavy saucepan, we're going to add 3/4 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of flour, and we're going to mix that together with a whisk. Now we're going to add 3 cups of milk. And of course I use Mayfield milk. If you're from East Tennessee, you know about Mayfield milk. So we're going to slowly start adding that in and turn our heat on medium. Add just a little bit and let's whisk that together. Get all the lumps out and then add the rest of the milk. And you're going to cook this until it becomes bubbly. Once it becomes thick and bubbly, you're going to reduce heat and cook for 2 minutes. And you want to stir continuously. You don't want it to stick to the bottom of your pan. Of course, I always remind you of those things because I know from experience. It's becoming thick and bubbly. We're going to cook that for 2 more minutes. And then we're going to remove a little bit and drizzle it into our mixed up eggs and then add it back to this pudding mixture. So we're going to cook it 2 more minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, at this point I'm going to just turn my heat off and get a ladle and add just a little bit of this hot liquid mixture to my eggs. So we're going to pour this in and stir as we pour. Now we're going to add this back into the saucepan and mix well, cooking for 2 more minutes. Let's scrape this bowl. Whisking it back in and turning your heat on medium to low. Switch to the spatula. Okay, now that it's cooked a little bit longer, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of butter and about a teaspoon of vanilla taking it off the heat. So I'm turning my heat off and adding the vanilla and stirring that in. Then you want this to cool before you add your bananas. So while this is cooling, I'm going to go ahead and go over and slice my bananas. You could stick this in the freezer or set it down into a bowl of ice. Just want it to cool down before you add it to your bananas, or your bananas will turn black. All right, there we go. Doesn't that look yummy? Okay, so let's slice our bananas. Got a little sticker here. Used to love to play with those. It takes about 3 bananas. Okay, my pudding is still in the freezer cooling off a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and start my layers. You want to start with the bottom layer of vanilla wafers. And then a layer of bananas. Can have as much or little of the bananas or cookies that you want. And then we're going to spoon on a little bit of the pudding. Spreading that out a little bit. And then another layer of cookies and bananas. Want to repeat that until all of your pudding has been used. Continue with another layer of the pudding. Finish off with the rest of your pudding. You can top it off with meringue if you like, especially if you're going to serve it right away. Meringue would be nice. But I'm just going to top it off with some vanilla wafer crumbs and pop it in the refrigerator for it to set. It is better if you let it set overnight and let your cookies soften. I prefer my banana pudding room temperature. Some people like it cold, but you want to store it in the refrigerator. I'm just topping it off with a little bit of the crumbs from the cracked vanilla wafers, and I'm going to set it in the refrigerator to cool just a minute, and we can have a little bowl of banana pudding.